Hi, Jules here for Talk to Me Tuesday on Tuesday, February 20th. I did have yesterday, President's Day holiday off, so that was a fortunate thing. I actually didn't do any sewing yesterday, but because I had a 3-day weekend, I did get some done over the weekend. So you can see behind me, I have a top in progress. The block name is Granny Square Block, and I want to say Blue Elephant Stitches or something like that is where I got the instructions originally. I made a quilt for my great niece when she was born many years ago out of this, and these are some leftover, these are like several leftover blocks, either because they weren't quite the same size when I trimmed them as the rest of them, and I ended up setting the whole thing on point. Anyway, long story short, you can find it in my Flickr, but I called it Great Granny Squares or something like that. The reason I called it that is because some of the fabric came from my mom's stash when we were cleaning out her house, and so I picked some of that out that was quilting cotton to use in this quilt for my great niece, so that she could so that her great-grandmother could be a part of her life. So I have a few left, and I'll show you which fabrics those are. Each of the blocks in the quilt had this fabric, which came from my mom's stash, and this fabric, which came from my mom's stash. All the rest came from scrap bags and things that I bought back when I first started quilting. These along the side, the smaller, is the same pattern. It was actually my birthday blocks swap block for 2014. Anyway, I knew these were the same pattern, and they were, you know, basically bright, fun prints on white, so I thought they would work well together, but of course, totally different sizes. First, I was trying to get these, and I have 2 of these left over, but they were even smaller. So when I went to trim down the blocks from the swap, they were not all the same size. And these are what was left. So anyway, this was an experiment. I didn't know if this was going to work. I had some white strips left from the chorus quilt, from the jelly roll that I bought, and I thought, well, I'll just use sashing and we'll see what happens. So I used sashing, and then I had one block out that was the same size as the others, and it didn't really go this blue. The entire block was those blues, so it kind of had a different feel than all the other blocks, because all of the other ones were really scrappy in lots of different colors. And I was one block out. I didn't have enough to do the same number of blocks per row, so I cut it in half. So I put half up here at the top, and I put half down here at the bottom, and I'll show you in just a minute. But yeah, so serendipity again. I know that I keep using that word, but the columns all came out the same length somehow, even though these were like 13¼ I think inches, maybe 13. I can't remember what the final unfinished size was of these, and these were 9. So I trimmed everything down, and the fact that I had to trim them all down somehow made it all work. So I pieced all of these. I got them into the range that I wanted, pieced each column, and then added the sashing in between the rows. It's still not wide enough. I don't think I need to make it any longer, but I plan to do the same, because I have enough strips left to do an outer border of the white to make it all float in white, and then I don't know what kind of border I'll do after that. And I don't know if this is going to be for Linus or for me. I haven't decided yet. Really doesn't matter. It was my goal with this past week was just to have some fun and not have any kind of deadlines or, you know, requirements on myself, and just sort of experiment. It's nice to do that once in a while, especially after you've been really focused on a project like I was with the chorus quilt. Speaking of the chorus quilt, I did get that handed over to, I personally handed it over to Sandy yesterday. She was not at rehearsal last week, and the co-director suggested that we get a small contingent of people, like from the board or whatever, together and take it over to her. And then I didn't hear from, I said, you know, call me when you guys just talk about it. Never heard from anyone all week. So, so yesterday I had the day off and I just called over there and talked to her partner and said, you know, she said, well, I think we're going to be able to go tonight if she's feeling like she has enough energy. The doctors have released her to go. Her white count is back up. And I said, you know what, let's not take any course time to, they all saw it last week. You know, we have a small enough amount of time at rehearsal anyway, so why don't I just bring it over? And so I did. And it's funny because I could tell she was very touched. I think she was kind of stunned, actually. She really was like not sure what to say and just thanked me and told me how beautiful it was. And then at rehearsal last night, her partner came up to me and pulled me aside. And she did, Sandy was at rehearsal last night, and she did thank the chorus for the quilt and me for putting it all together and all that. But her partner pulled me aside at break time and said, I just want you to know that after you left this afternoon, Sandy, she had that quilt out and she read every message that was on that quilt. She was turning it all different directions, and she said she cried a few times while she was reading the sentiments. She just loves it so much. And I just wanted you to know, you know, how truly touched she is. And she spent, you know, a big chunk of time after I left just basically turning it all different directions and reading every bit of encouragement that was on that quilt. So that made me very happy. It made me very happy. So I'm so glad to have done that. I don't know when I'll do another project like that again. It was pretty stressful just trying to get all the signatures and everything. The actual construction wasn't hard at all. But just the wrangling of cats to get all the signatures was what was difficult. So I'm looking at the clock and I got to get ready for work. So I will leave it at that. And I look forward to watching your videos. I'm still getting caught up from last week. But I'll see you next week. Bye.